The sun beat down on Bango's back. His muscles ached, but he dared not rest. Not yet. Not when his family's survival depended on every drop of sweat he could wring from his brow. His calloused fingers dug into the dry earth, pleading for a bountiful harvest. The soil, however, remained stubbornly unyielding. Bango looked at his crops, withered and stunted. The rains had failed them this year. His heart pounded in his chest, a drumbeat of despair. How would he feed his children? How would he provide for his family? He had always worked hard, always believed in the power of his own two hands. But now, doubt gnawed at his spirit. The weight of his responsibility pressed down on him. He thought of his wife, Amina, her eyes reflecting the same worry that clouded his own. He thought of his children, their laughter a distant memory in the face of gnawing hunger. He had to do something. He had to find a way out of this. The setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, a cruel mockery of the beauty that surrounded him. Bango walked back to his hut, each step heavy with the burden of his worries. The future, once a field of promise, now seemed like a barren wasteland. He was a farmer with no harvest, a provider with empty hands. Word spread through the village like wildfire. Al-Haji Tura, the wealthiest man in their midst, was lending money. A lifeline for those in desperate need. Bango hesitated. He knew the whispers about Al-Haji Tura, the exorbitant interest rates, the impossible demands. But desperation gnawed at his insides. He found himself standing before Al-Haji Tura, his heart pounding in his chest. Tura was a large man, his presence radiating an air of power and control. He listened intently as Bango poured out his woes, his voice cracking with a mixture of shame and pleading. "I can help you, Bango," Al-Haji Tura said, his voice smooth as silk. Bango dared to hope, but the terms were steep, the interest staggering. Bango knew this loan was a gamble, a roll of the dice with his life as the stake. Yet what choice did he have? He signed the agreement, his hand trembling. As he walked back, the weight in his chest had shifted, replaced by a different kind of burden. The burden of debt. A debt that felt like a heavy chain around his neck, threatening to drag him under. The rains finally came, a blessing from the heavens. Bango, fueled by newfound hope, toiled tirelessly. He nurtured his crops, whispering prayers for their growth. He imagined the day he would harvest his bounty, pay off his debt, and look at his family with pride and relief. The fields, once barren, now teemed with life. The sight of his flourishing crops filled Bango with a surge of hope. He clung to it fiercely, allowing it to push back the shadows of doubt. This was it. This was his chance to reclaim his life. Amina, sensing his newfound optimism, smiled, a genuine smile that reached her eyes. It had been a while since Bango had seen that smile. He vowed to do everything in his power to make sure it stayed. For a brief moment, life seemed to regain its balance. The laughter of his children filled the small hut once more. Bango dared to dream of a future free from the suffocating grip of debt, a future where he could provide for his family with dignity and pride. Section 4. The Serpent's Embrace. The harvest arrived, bountiful and promising. But Bango's heart felt heavy. The weight of the debt had not lessened. The interest, like a hungry beast, had devoured most of his profits. He was trapped. Each season, Bango found himself deeper in debt. No matter how hard he worked, how much he sacrificed, the loan loomed over him like a dark cloud. The hope that had bloomed within him began to wither, replaced by a chilling realization. He was caught in a vicious cycle, a cycle that tightened its grip with each passing season. He was a prisoner in his own life, his every move dictated by the terms of his debt. The laughter of his children now sounded like a painful reminder of his failures. The light in Amina's eyes had dimmed, replaced by a weary resignation. The debt was not just his burden to bear, it was crushing his entire family. Section 5. Trapped in a Global Web. Bango's story is not unique. It is a story repeated across the African continent. Nations, burdened by debt to powerful institutions like the International Monetary Fund, find themselves in similar binds. The IMF, often hailed as a savior, offers loans to struggling economies. But these loans come with strings attached. Austerity measures, privatization of vital resources, policies that often exacerbate poverty and inequality. Just like Bango, these nations are forced to make impossible choices. They prioritize debt repayment over vital investments in healthcare, education, and infrastructure. The cycle of debt becomes a chokehold, strangling their economies and trapping their citizens in poverty. Section 6. A seed of hope remains. Bango's story is a stark reminder of the human cost of debt. It is a call to action. We cannot stand idly by while individuals, communities, and entire nations are crushed under the weight of unjust systems. We need to demand change. We need to hold institutions accountable. We need to create a world where access to fair and just financial systems is a right, not a privilege. The story of Bango is not just a tale of despair. It is also a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, Bango continues to fight. He continues to hope. He continues to nurture his land and provide for his family. His resilience is a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can endure. It is a call to action, an inspiration to fight for a better future. A future where stories like Bango's are not tales of despair, but stories of triumph. A future where debt does not define a life but empowers it.